call meeting of the McMinnville Board of Mayor and Aldermen to order. We have one item on the agenda. That is that the city of McMinnville has decided to discuss the allocation of funds to the following nonprofits: Warren County Home Delivery, Meals Incorporated, Meals on Wheels, Main Street McMinnville, and McMinnville Warren County Senior Center. And at this time, I would open it up for guests to speak. Anyone who feels like they want to speak. We'll put a limit on this at 2 minutes per person. State your name and address when you come to the podium.
Hello, my name is Chris Terry with Back to the Strip.
Address.
Address, 210 Terry Lane.
Mary Walker with Back to the Strip, 2329 Faulkner Springs Road.
Leslie Hayes with Back to the Strip, 142 Carmine Court East.
We're here today on the recent board meeting y'all had that Nancy Mayfield come up and asked for funding from y'all. And to quote what was in the paper was, in departure from previous years, Meals on Wheels did not receive funding from Back to the Strips, which has left the nonprofit strapped for what Mayfield describes a crucial funding to hold the program over during the summer months with donations being slow. So we did donate to Meals on Wheels, and we informed them last year at their board meeting that we were going to be changing our way of what we was doing with our money. And we give them all of the food this year, which was somewhere around, I got that, around 5,000 pounds. And we give them 2 gift cards, a $5,000 gift card to WDG and a $5,000 gift card to Save-A-Lot. Them are the 2 parking lots that we take up that day and cost them people business while our event goes on. So instead of giving the money to be spent out of town, since all the sponsors are local, we decided to give gift cards to them 2 things to have money spent. So we just wanted to come, because we had sponsors call since that aired and come in the paper. What did y'all do with our money? And Mary's going to speak on our changes that we made throughout this year, but just to set the record straight, to this day, let me get my old man glasses on. Through 2023, we've raised $387,685. If you add the $10,000 in gift cards this year, it's $397, and over 20,000 pounds of food, pet food, with over 25 tons of food. Last year, we also got I guess it's their yearly expense and donations that they have. And on that, none of the food that we've ever donated, either from last year or anything, has ever been listed. Now, we give them $55,000 in one check last year and around 7,500 pounds of food last year again. And that wasn't listed in part of what they received from donations from us. Would you like to speak there?
Yes. So this year in January, our executive board made the decision, voted and made a decision, instead of all of the money going to Meals on Wheels, to split it up throughout our community. Because Back to the Strip is a community event where all the money is raised off of individuals and small businesses in our area. So instead of having a huge amount of money sitting in a savings account in a building that already has a commercial kitchen that's nicer than most restaurants in our town, we voted to take care of people in our community that is sick, that has a sick child, that maybe has had a life-altering thing happen in their life. Right now, we have 13 members of our community. The criteria to be in our blessing program is you must have been a working member of our community at the time of the injury, accident, or whatever happened. You cannot live in government housing. We're after helping working people in our community that helps us to pull off Back to the Strip every year. Right now, we have 13 families that we're helping. 2 is juvenile. 9 has cancer. These people really need what we're doing as well. The reason that we changed the way we are doing it is we feel like we've got Meals on Wheels in a really good spot. And it's time to share the love with individuals in our community that also needs help. Because we all know sometimes the middle class gets looked over. You know, we have numerous people right now that we're helping that's single mothers that's going through breast cancer.
Explain what we're doing for them.
We're paying their light bills and their water bills. We're giving gas cards. We have 3 people right now that's taking daily treatment. And so we're trying to help get these people back and forth to treatment and pay their utility bills and buy them groceries. So we just wanted y'all to know that we are still looking after our community and trying to take care of the ones that need it the most. And we could not do that without everybody's support, including y'all's and the city of McMinnville, where Leslie's going to come.
And while we have you all here in your ear, please know how much we greatly appreciate the McMinnville Police Department. Because without them, I don't know what we'd do. We'd probably all pull our hair out. We wouldn't have hair. But, you know, they write in the paper, 93 people were stopped, 23 tickets or whatever was written. It was 90 and it was 20 something. Listen, if you've not come out on Saturday of Back to the Strip, it's thousands of people and thousands of cars. And the McMinnville Police Department has done a great job of helping us pull this event off. And we're just trying to do the best we can do to thank them and to keep this money in this community, because the money that is raised comes from this community. I'm imported. I'll just tell you up front. If y'all don't know me, I'm imported. Most of you know me. But I've been here long enough now. My children are from here. And this community matters to me. And if we can keep the money here, we can keep our businesses strong and take care of our own people, we're doing good. So again, thank you for the McMinnville Police Department and thank you all.
Thank you for your time.
Do y'all have any questions? I guess we should. Thank you.
Raven Young with Main Street McMinnville. I just want to, I'm thankful that y'all are reconsidering and at least discussing all the appropriations again. Main Street McMinnville, I fully believe does a lot of good for our downtown. We put on a lot of different events and learning activities and things for the community that we wouldn't be able to do if we didn't have the support for the city to be able to have our operation costs covered. Last year we received $35,000 from the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, or from the city of McMinnville, for a portion of our operating costs. We did have to make up some of that last year. That didn't fully cover the salary or just the general expenses of the office with printing and internet and rent and things of that we also have to pay. Those were all laid out in our application of what those general things cost. But so without the support of the city, a lot of the different activities and stuff that we do downtown would have to either not happen, or we'd have to go try to figure out a different way to make it happen. So in our bank account right now, I know it looks like we have money, obviously. I know that y'all have reviewed the applications and everything. But we do have Main Street Live coming up, and that's around a $30,000 event that we put on for the 8 weeks of the summer. So that's going to be coming out of our account by the end of July. We also have another separate account that was set up for our grant matching funds. That has approximately $20,000 in it. We did receive a $300,000 grant from the state, and a portion of that went to facade improvements. The other portion that we received would go towards park benches, trash cans, picnic tables, bike racks, things of that for downtown improvements is what it was specified for in our contract with the state. We have to have a grant matching amount for that. So we actually don't even have the full amount of that. With that $20,000 we have, we do still have to either fundraise or come up with the rest of that to make it up. But so that money is also already allocated for something. So we've obviously, as y'all are working on budgets and everything, we've met with our executive committee to start talking about and planning for our next fiscal year of our budget as well. We're wanting to get downtown maps printed. That's something that our business owners have told us over the years. We've been hearing it continuously that people from out of town come and visit and they don't know where anything is. So we want to be able to have downtown maps printed that could go out to the hotel to hopefully drive people downtown, the new hotel by the hospital also be in all of our downtown merchants so that people know that are visiting can have a tangible piece of paper of where things are. So that's one things we want to implement. We also are wanting to implement some downtown audio guide walking tours that would highlight our historical buildings and things in downtown. All of those things cost money, and those are just some of the new initiatives that we are intending to work on this next year if we have the funds to be able to do that. So things of that nature, or free carriage rides at Christmas time. The building we had this year with the Mrs. Claus reading a story and the free ornament making us, things like that are little extra things that we do at some of the downtown events are able to happen because we do have the support from the city to be able to have our operating costs covered. So that's, I guess, just kind of a spiel on what we're looking to do and hope to do. And we really just hope that the city can continue to support us. Do y'all have any questions for me about anything?
Well, I do. With your 300,000 grant, what percentage matching do you have to have on that? Rick?
So it's the way that our grant contract was set up, it was set for half for the facade improvements and half, so 150. And it's a 25% match.
Okay, so of the 300, you got to have 75.
So actually the way it's set, we just have to match 150, or the 25% goes to 150 of it. The other 150 is actually matched because we do a sub-grant process for this facade improvements. So that actually comes from the property owners. So the 150 though, that we would be purchasing benches, trash cans, bicycle racks, those things that would be considered downtown improvements, that's what we have to have a 25% match against.
And so that number is 30.
37.5.
37.5. Okay. All right, thank you. Oh, Main Street Live, what's the operating cost on that?
It's roughly 30,000 is the expenses for this year, and that covers sound and lights, the bands, any extra things, the Dr. Pepper trailer, we sell those drinks, of course, but we do have to pay for everything up front for that. So a lot of those different expenses. Of course, the bulk of it is the sound, lights, and the talent. But that's where a large portion of our deposits have come from. It's because sponsorships for that. That's why it looks like we have one. Because we start taking that in around this time of year, April, May is when we send out those sponsorship letters and start receiving those. But we don't actually spend all of Main Street Live until the end of July. And our fiscal year splits to we're July to June. So we have half fiscal year, or the first half of Main Street Live on last fiscal year, the next on the next.
So it kind of follows us.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Eddie Palmer. My residence is 1051 Shells Ford Road. My concern is for the senior center. We think Lana Hillis is doing a great job there. I've heard that y'all are talking about cutting her funding. I've been told that she's taken out a loan that she's going to have to pay back. The building that we're in now is supposed to be sold, but I've been told that most of the money will probably be spent to pay off the loan that she has made. The money is to renovate the new space that we will have at 3-Star Mall. And that is my concern, that if you cut it out altogether, there will be no more senior center. So I'd like for you to discuss with Lana and work out the money before you cut it all out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
Might I respond to Mr. Palmer? Sure. Sir, just to be sure that we're all on the same page here, what we did is the request was for $30,000. And what we did last year, we gave them 28.5. So what we did this year in our budget meeting is that we approved $14,250 right out of the gate. And then what we said, that we put a caveat in there, that we understand that there's a building over there that's for sale. No one's in control of when that may or may not happen. Ms. Hillis came to our last regular scheduled meeting, told us that there's $400 and something thousand worth of money that's owed on a line of credit or a loan for the improvements going on over there right now. We didn't know that before, but we do. So what we said, that the caveat that we did is we didn't cut any funding. What we said is that we're going to go ahead and approve 50% of what we did last year. And we're going to allow them, if this building doesn't come through, the sale doesn't come through halfway through the year, because that's 50% of what we did last year, we're going to allow them to come back, and we would consider at that point in time funding the rest of it. But we wanted everyone to know that we were cognizant of the financial situation there. We weren't trying to be hard. Does that make sense to you?
Yes,
What
sir.
we're trying to be.
That's all I'm asking, that you work with.
That's absolutely, that was our intention from the very beginning.
Thank you.
And we're not trying to cut anything. We're just making sure that we're putting money where money's needed. And with that caveat in there, and it was in the paper. It actually was in the newspaper. I just don't think some people read it.
I didn't get the.
I get it. I understand. But I just wanted you to make sure that you know that we just said that, okay, we're going to do 50%. And if that building doesn't happen and they get in dire straits, because I believe the comment was made in the meeting that this is not a very liquid entity at all. And all of the members were aware of that. So we didn't cut them off. We're just trying to be
That's making
judicious.
sense.
Yes,
That's all
sir.
I'm asking,
We're
that
just
you
trying to
work
be
with it.
judicious in our nonprofit donations. That's all we're doing. We're just trying to be judicious.
Thank you.
We'll go
Thank you,
over
sir.
everyone's requests and what they were received so far before we're finished.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you had the
I
backstory
didn't.
to that. Well, and that's what I assumed. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve,
Thank
for
you
letting me.
your answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Evening. My name is Alma McCormick. I live on James Street here in McMinnville. And I'm going to come in at a different angle than he is. I was once like you guys in business and didn't think I'd ever get to be a senior. But it has happened. And the senior center is really an important thing. I'm looking at it from a healthcare standpoint because I'm a nurse. It is a place that they can come and get any kind of help that you can think of. They will help you with your income tax. They'll help you with your Medicare. They'll help old people that don't know how to use their telephones or how to use their computers. They have a lot of programs and programs that help with their health and food programs where they can come and have 3 good meals a week. And a lot of these people have nobody else at home. They have nobody else at home. And they come in there on walkers and whatever. And they really enjoy coming there. And I know it costs money to have anything going like they have over there. And we appreciate what you have done and hope we can get more. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Kelly Snyder, and I'm here on behalf of Main Street McMinnville. We have 2 family-owned businesses here downtown. We have the Hitch Outfitters, and we just opened up the new Hitch General Store downtown. I kind of want to give you a little background on what Main Street McMinnville does. Not only do we do Main Street Live, but they also do the second Saturdays, which brings the crowd down to downtown. And this is a few of the things that they were involved in over this past year. This was pulled from the economic impact, the year end of April of 2024. This is online. You guys can see it. October 21st, the Pioneer Pep Rally downtown brought in 6,800 people downtown that day. That's 6,800 people that are shopping in our shops, in our stores. That's 6,800 people that we didn't have for that day. Also, the Halloween participants downtown, we had 4,800 people. Us alone gave, that's including the adults and the children, but we gave out over 1,500 children candy for that, for October 31st. We also do Flip the Switch, which is becoming a really big thing for the community. They love to come downtown. We count down, the lights flip on, they get to shop. There's activities and stuff that they can do.
The Flip the Switch night and that Small Business Saturday, which is that Saturday, brought 3,700 people to downtown. On December the 10th, which was our second Saturday for Christmas, it brought in 4,800 people to downtown. The reason I wanted you guys to know this is not only are these activities good for us, and it's good for you because us as taxpayers, when we're paying our sales tax and stuff back to you, this is bringing business not only to us, but it's helping the community as well. It's helping you guys do your budgets and everything. I just kind of feel like that if we had had a little heads up for Main Street McMinnville, we could have done our budget, but we have always got budgets. Money from you guys. And to just cut us off pretty quick, that was kind of a harsh reality for us. We count on those funds, like Raven said, for administrative costs. These other things that we do are community-based. We want to give back to the community that gives to us, especially us as business owners, because without them, we don't have a business. And without them, you guys don't have money to operate because they bring in all the tax dollars and the funds from downtown. We've got Walmart, we've got Lowe's, but as far as business-wise goes, your downtown has more businesses per capita than anywhere in the county does. We have more tax-paying businesses. Of course, like I said, we don't bring in the revenue that your big box stores do. But when we have so many people that come in, tourism down here is big. I don't know if you guys know that. Most of the people that we have come in, we rely on our locals, but we have tons and tons of people that come in from out of town, and they love our downtown. That is one of the things that makes them want to live here. They come and see the downtown. They see everything is beautiful. They see nice streets. They see nice shops to shop in, and they love it. So we just hope this year that you will continue to fund us. And then if it's not happening for us next year, that we get a heads up and we can adjust our budgets and stuff to take care of that. But we would just really like your support for this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's me again. I feel like I couldn't come enough and talk to you guys. After I left the other night, I want to appreciate you already considering giving us half of the money. But we had our board meeting this past week, and we're not able to set a budget because I don't know what our funding is going to be yet. But I can tell you right now that on the crew that I have, I'm a full-time, I have my assistant, and then I have my kitchen workers, which work 3 days a week, and then I have my thrift store girls. If you leave your funding at what you're set to give us, I'm gonna lose an employee. You're looking at the glorified janitor, me and my assistant. We stay after work. I'd be there now cleaning, but I've got them over there so I could come up here and talk to you guys. We work on a skeleton crew. I work many, many hours. I probably average about 84 hours a week working. I don't get paid for that. It's my job. But when I move to a facility that's 17,000 square feet, I don't know how many more times I can split myself in half to try to clean and do what I gotta have. And I don't even know where I would begin to cut. Because right now I've got 2 in my kitchen and you're looking at the 3rd one. I'm on the line serving these movers back here. I don't ask any employee in my building to do anything I wouldn't do myself first. But guys, I'm out of time. If I could put 48 hours in a day, I wouldn't be up here asking. And I totally get that you're giving us some funding, but it takes every penny of what I get coming in to make what budget I do have. You know, at this point, everybody's wanting cost of living, right? I don't even know that I could give my girls anything. I call them my girls because they're my family. But I'm striving to tell you that I assure you, I write for every grant I possibly can write for. And I do everything I can to advocate for these people right back here. I wish you could see. I invite you guys Friday to our annual cookout, our Memorial Day cookout. We're going to have a big time and it'll be great.
just so you can meet our members and see what we do there. It's more than just a place for bingo and socialization. Some of you've been in my building and y'all know what we do. But my concern is all that is set aside is when y'all cut me that 14,000, it's cut an employee out. And I don't know how many more hours I can work. Carrie, you know how many hours you're on my board. So, you know, it's tough and we all want to go home at night. But I can't stand here and fight enough for my building and my staff and my members, because it's that important. And when we move, guys, you know, hopefully we're gonna be there in the next few weeks, but we're still not done, and it is a bank loan. And I have no idea what my building's gonna go for. Hopefully it'll go for something, but you know, I can't ask you enough for you to understand how important this funding is. So I ask you to reconsider it, please, for my sake anyway. So anyway, thank you.
Anyone else? I'll open it up for discussion or a motion from the board at this time. Just to make sure we all understand, and correct me if these numbers are not right, but what I'm showing is that Main Street requested 50,000. They were given 5. Senior Center requested 30. We're awarded 14,250. And Meals on Wheels requested 15 and were awarded 0 so far. Main Street requested 50.
Yeah, that's last year's donations were 35. Yeah, I mean, it says right there, our actual contribution for this budget cycle that we're currently in is 35. Am I right with that, Andre?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. I would like to talk about the senior center. Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the $30,000 for the senior center for this year.
And is this a full board motion or only in your?
Do we
I see.
have to have a motion before we discuss?
More than we did last year.
Not for discussion.
No.
So we can discuss it without a motion, right? And if you want to go ahead and make it, that's fine, but, or if you want
I made it.
A second.
to have a motion and a second, now I'll open it up for discussion.
Okay, the reason that for this year, and I do want everybody to understand how a budget, just because you do something this year doesn't mean you're always going to do it or you're never going to do it. So what I look at is I do understand what they're in a transition mode right now. And I don't go as often as I should being on the board because they meet at 4 o'clock on Thursday. But I see the work and the effort that they are putting into this, and I only see this center growing. So I think we need, my opinion is, we need to allow them to grow. Once they get where they're at, which will be next year, we're going to see them. They're going to be able to make more money where they're going. Their thrift store, I think, will bring them in more money. And then if we need to back off next year or something like that, that's how I see it for this year. Like I said, that doesn't mean it's every year. And everybody also needs to understand, when you're looking and you're seeing a deficit, we have gone from a ginormous deficit on this board where we've tried to tighten everything up, put money where it belongs, paving streets, making sure our fire and police have the money and the necessary things they have. So we have really tried and looked at that. So I'm not a frivolous spender on anything. I just know, like with the senior center and the meals, what that means to them. They're in a place right now, they can't even grow where they are. So I think where they're going, they're heading in a better direction. They will have to pay rent. I do understand that, and that's what a lot of their money will go for. But it's just kind of like any business, just treat it as a business. As a business is growing, it kind of needs, we need to get it where it can go, and then let's see where it can fly from there. So that's my 2 cents on the senior center. So y'all can say
I
what you.
guess, Carrie, I'd like to ask, we had talked about doing 14,
Mhm.
250, and then the second round. To me, with a fluid situation like it is with that building not sold and not knowing what that's gonna do, and that doesn't appeal to you more. To me, it almost appeals to me more because there's so many variables.
Well, the money is not gonna be liquid for them to spend. It's gonna go into a trust. That's what I've been told. The money will go into a trust, whatever is left of it will go into a trust, and then that's what they will have to rely on paying their rent. And I understand it's rent to the county. I got that. But that's what they'll have to rely on paying their rent out of, either until it's gone or until they grow it. And that's another thing. Like I said, it's a 1 year. It's this year. Next year, you look at bottom line. When I look at the bottom line from Lana or Meals on Wheels, or even, and I understand Main Street McMinnville, I say their bottom line, but they don't have the opportunity to earn money like some of these, like Meals on Wheels, or because they were donated money to. So they're just having to rely off of mostly our money or grant money that Atlanta can get. So, I mean, like I said, it's this year.
I have a question for Lana. Do you get any kind of tax break from the county for your rent? Are you gonna get any kind of break on your rental?
It is a 20-year lease at $1,500 a month. It will include our water. As Alderman Morton stated, everything, of course, the first thing's gonna do is pay off the loan. And right now we're sitting at $443,000 on the loan. We're not done yet, but right now that's where it's at. So depending on even what that is, we've got to pay off our loan on our thrift store. Our senior building is paid for, but the thrift store itself has got a loan against it. So that's got to be paid off. So whatever little bit of money's left is already been passed by our board of directors that it has to go into a trust. And one time a year, it will be paid out to the county. Our rent is $1,500 a month. Is what our rent is. And that includes our water. So the county was trying to lock us in at that price to where it's not fluctuating, because I don't know if any of y'all own commercial, but typically you're paying $1 a square foot and we're getting 17,000 square feet, $1,500 a month. So they're trying to help us out all they can, but it was our job to do all the renovation. We had to repair, and which luckily HVAC, which I know y'all hear all about HVAC business. It's luckily all 7 units are running. So we didn't have to replace that, but there was sections of our roof that had to be fixed, but every metal wall stud that went up in there, all the electrical itself it's pushing, and I've not even paid that bill yet, but we're looking at about $50,000 on the electrical, because we had to go through and put plugs and lights and correct wiring, because it has to be up to code, because it's a new, it's considered a new structure. So, but that money is locked in. It will not be liquid to me at all whatsoever. So, and then of course we've got our thrift store, our county, our city, and my development district funding. And then I write for any grant that I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm in the wrong place. I love this municipal court. They find.
No, sir.
No, brother. So
It's a city mayor and alderman meeting.
So where do I go for municipal? Because we said that on the.
That was yesterday.
That was
So
yesterday.
You can go up to the 3rd floor. They should still be there.
I don't know if I got.
You're all right, man.
Sounds like me.
The icebreaker.
I think it's something today.
We've all done it. He took that well.
He said, I'm getting out of here and be whatever it takes, I'm getting out.
Rather be in court.
I'd rather get an FTA than be in here.
My name is Don Hayes and I have a question for y'all. Has any of you ever been to the senior center and see what goes on out there?
I have not.
I'd invite you out tomorrow and see, there'll be 150 people in there. Most of them with walkers or a cane or something like that. And if it wasn't for that place, they would be sitting at home looking at four walls or probably be in the tank.
Well, I probably owe you money because I'm sending my in-laws over there, so I'm probably gonna have to make a personal donation real quick. Y'all need them.
So I mean, if you knew what exactly went on over there, I know how you would vote.
So we have a motion by Kerry Morton and a second by Dietrich Dunlap. Is there any more discussion?
Well, that motion exceeds their request for the year, if I'm not mistaken. The request was 28.5.
It was 30.
The request was 30, 20.
Oh, I'm sorry.
28.5 is what we gave them
Okay,
last year.
I apologize. Sorry. Thank you. Well, where are we gonna, well, I mean, we're pretty sure that we know what our reserves and stuff are. Remember Everett Brock used to say, find the money. Where are we gonna find the money? That's what we gotta, where are we gonna do it? Where are we gonna cut? We're gonna have to cut something. Where are we gonna find the money? That's the question for us. Where are we gonna find it?
Good question.
I mean, that's the deal. All of us have to find some money. No, so where are we gonna cut? Who are we gonna look at and say, sorry? You know, who are we gonna do that to?
Yeah, that's a good question. During our finance committee meetings, we were watching that number very closely to try to stay under what we can spend. And we did as well as we could, I felt like,
I agree.
in our finance committee meetings, but
Mr. Ming, your city administrator, help us here. Where do you believe in the capital budget that we can cut in that capital budget to accommodate the needs of these nonprofits?
If you
And I'm
want,
specifically talking about the senior center and Main Street McMinnville. I don't think we have anybody here from Meals on Wheels, do we? So I'm only talking about those two right now.
So-
They didn't show up.
if you were to fully fund all three requests, we have a deficit of $11,298. So if you were to only fulfill the two requests and leave Meals on Wheels at 0, we would still land in the black. So we wouldn't need to cut anything.
Given that information and the fact that no one from Meals on Wheels showed up here today, I would be perfectly happy with that. However, Mr. Pirtle, we need to construct this language. Please help us.
It's a challenge because we passed the budget on first reading. This special call meeting could serve as second reading, but it's amending the original budget that was passed. So.
So in all actuality, we won't truly be voting on this until next Tuesday.
That's correct.
So the only changes you would be making is the increased allocation to Main Street and the senior center. That's it. So you could vote on those two. And that's the vote, and that's what gets voted on a week from today.
And I'm out of fingers and toes, and you're sure your math works, right?
Sam, is my math right? I always fall back on Sam.
I mean, I don't blame you. I'm falling back on you.
So we have a current surplus of $64,542. If I'm correct, the 30,000, so right now senior center has been slotted in the first reading for 14,250. If we were to up that to 30,000, we're looking at 15,750. Calculate, make sure I'm on the right track.
I can do
That's what I
that.
had as well.
Okay.
I
Yes.
can do that.
And then the request for Main Street Batmobile was 40,000, 50,000, 50,000. They've already been slotted for 5,000. So an additional 45,000 would decrease the fund balance by, or not the fund balance, but the
6,750 less whatever your number was,
64,542.
I support that.
And keep in mind too, that these general fund numbers in the black are not counting capital projects that
No.
we're doing.
And
So
also that
if
does,
you add in capital projects, we're in the red.
right, and that also does count on, in the private business community, they say we bet on the come. We bet on the come that the sales tax revenue is gonna stay the same. These are projections. So we're cutting it pretty skinny, hoping that things stay the way they have been and trailing.
Our true deficit in the budget as proposed and approved on first reading is $2,412,000. That's negative. So when I say operating deficit or operating surplus, that 64,000 does not include any of those large capital projects that we will expend in the next fiscal year. So we are not in the black by any means, and I don't want that to be misconstrued.
And also,
This would draw that down.
and the general fund balance projection at the end of 2020, this upcoming budget year is just under 6 million. Is that right?
Correct.
So just so everybody knows kind of
Correct.
where we are.
And so we're kind of, we're spinning in the red here. You know, and we've known that because we've got to, we got to pay roads, we got to buy fire equipment, police equipment. We've got a lot of capital stuff that we have to do. We don't have a choice.
So what was the final number?
$60,750 is the total increase in the allocation between the two.
So it's 4,000.
4,000 is 4,000.
We would remain at a structurally balanced budget on terms of operating.
Okay, so we're gonna,
I would propose that you make a motion to approve each or deny each. I would vote on each one of them, each one of the three.
we already have a motion and a second for
Senior center.
senior center.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we need to vote. We need to hold the vote.
I need to go ahead and do the vote.
Senior center.
Yes. Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes.
And when y'all meet my in-laws, remember what I just did.
Motion carries. Now we'll discuss, open up Main Street for discussion on motions.
I'll make a motion to approve the allocation for Main Street McMinnville at an additional, well, the total allocation would be $35,000. So we'd be amending from 5 to 35. I'm sorry.
Well, just to be clear, their ask was 50 and 35.
Okay, sorry, I didn't have
But
that.
that's what we gave them last year, so that's where that number comes from.
Well, I would make a motion that we equal last year's gift at an additional, amend for an additional 30 for a total of 35.
Motion by Stacy Harvey.
I'll second that one.
Second by Carrie Morton. Any further discussion?
I have a question. When we was adding 45,000. Correct.
Correct.
So when we do the 45,000 plus the 5,000, that will make our 50 that they requested.
Right, but my motion was 30.
Okay.
That's what I mentioned.
My motion was an amend 30
To add.
to a total of 35.
Which is what we gave last year.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Victor Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby.
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes,
Motion carries. No Meals on Wheels. Any motions or discussion?
yes, I have something to say about Meals on Wheels. I think it's a fantastic program, but when you look at their bottom line, honestly, they're not in dire straits right now, and I want everybody to know that. We are not cutting anybody's meals out that's going to their home, because that is very important for them also. And I appreciate the Back to the Strip bunch for coming today. Thank you guys for speaking out and clearing the record and letting everybody understand what has maybe transitioned in your organization. Y'all been great supporters of that program over many, many, many years. And I could say a Chris Terry and a Brad Bolding, I think, from the way back and beyond on that. But anyway, I do want people to know, in the paper, out on the radio, anywhere, we're not cutting people's funding from there. It's just that their bottom line looks fine for this year. Next year, like I said before, if it looks different and they need something, maybe we can find something. Maybe somebody else won't be as in need next year as they have been this year. So that's what I want to say about Meals on Wheels, because I certainly don't want anybody to think we pick and we choose. We just look at bottom lines and we make the best decisions that we can.
I agree. And I would add, any nonprofit that applies, to the city of McMinnville, that each year stands on its own. So don't expect to get next year what you got this year. Don't take that for granted, because you might be surprised.
I agree. Any motion for Meals on Wheels?
I make a motion for 0 for Meals on Wheels for this year.
Second that.
I have a motion by Carrie Morton, a second by Stacy Harvey. Call for the vote.
Victor Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy
Aye.
Harvey, Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes,
Motion carries. Any other subject come before the board? Not, this meeting's adjourned.